Hi, PerspectiveWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Wednesday, November 18th. A cold morning here in the Mid-Atlantic region. Some of the suburban areas in the I-95 corridor region, north and west of Philly, north and west of New York City and D.C. are near the freezing mark or even at slightly below the freezing mark. Last hour, for example, Pottstown in just to the north and west of Philadelphia is about 32 degrees. It'll be another cold day today with brisk winds, still noticeable winds for much of the day today in the northeastern part of the nation. Out of the northwest, the winds die down tonight. That should allow temperatures to fall to well below freezing in many of the suburban locations in the I-95 corridor region. For example, north and west of Philly, I could see some lower to middle 20s by early tomorrow morning, which would be the lowest temperatures of the year so far. Below freezing north and west of D.C. and New York City as well. Then the chill begins to ease on Thursday, and it really becomes noticeably milder for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. High temperatures in places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City should be at or above the 60-degree mark for those 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Should be mostly, if not completely, dry through the upcoming weekend. There could be some showers to deal with as we begin the work week next week, which will be a shortened week because of the Thanksgiving Day holiday. Well, yesterday we talked a little bit about teleconnection indices known as the Arctic Oscillation and North Atlantic Oscillation that kind of become increasingly important as we approach the winter season. And another thing I like to look at this time of the year is what's happening in the stratosphere, especially over the polar regions. Sometimes there's a stratospheric event, a stratospheric warming event that can lead to cold air outbreaks into the mid-latitudes, including in the central and eastern part of the nation. So this is another thing we'll look at as we approach the winter season here. This actually is the temperature pattern right now as we begin the day here on November 18th. In the stratosphere, way up at the top of the atmosphere, and what we're looking at is a polar region centered right in the middle. This is the North Pole, this little circle right here. The U.S. is down over here and on this particular display map here. And typically, this time of the year, we have what we see currently, which is a cold polar vortex over the North Pole, and it can shift during the winter season. Sometimes it splits into two, sometimes it completely flips to a warmer pattern in the at the top of the atmosphere over the polar region, and that's something we'll look for, because when it breaks apart or is taken over by warming, usually that polar vortex sets off a chain of events in the atmosphere that allows for cold air to be transmitted from the polar region to the middle latitude. So again, this is what we see right now, a pretty cold start to the winter season here in the upper part of the atmosphere. Again, this is the North Pole right here, and these temperatures are, and you can see on the legend here, some 70 to 75 degrees below zero here at, over the pole. Again, this is way up at the top of the atmosphere, what we call 10 millibar region. So again, this is something we'll monitor. And this is the current look. Let's now jump ahead 10 days. And here it is. This is the 10-day forecast from last night's GFS for the temperature pattern way up in the stratosphere over the polar region, and really more than just the polar region. We see, again, the U.S. and the other side of the pole over here, but it gets a little colder by the time we get 10 days out, and starts to get a little bit elongated, spilling over a little bit into the western part of Canada, the northwestern part of the U.S. Now we're seeing temperatures below 80 degrees, below zero here in the 10-day forecast. Again, it goes from this to this in 10 days. So that'll be something interesting to watch. It may give us a signal that colder air outbreaks will be more dominant into the central and eastern U.S., for example. Now, they could spill out over into the northwestern part of the nation, keeping the eastern U.S. warm. But it's something we'll monitor over the next several weeks. Well, while we are well below normal for this time of the year in the Mid-Atlantic region, not too much going on in terms of record-breaking cold this morning. This is from coolweather.com, and what we see here a few scattered areas here cited in blue circles with near record lows or actual record lows. Again, not much in terms of record-breaking cold, but we are well below normal. The normal high, for example, today in Philadelphia at the official reporting site of PHL, the Philadelphia International Airport, is 56 degrees, and we'll struggle to reach the 40-degree mark. Again, there will be some brisk northwest winds to give us even lower wind chill, so some 15 degrees below normal, but not really a widespread record-breaking cold type of morning here. Now, tomorrow morning, I think there could be some more in terms of records or near records as the winds will diminish in the overnight hours. High pressure moves right on top of the region, setting the stage for probably the lowest temperatures of the year so far, a hard freeze in many suburban areas along the I-95 corridor by tomorrow morning. Well, let's wrap up by looking at the surface forecast maps from last night's 6C operational run of the GFS. Not nearly as much in terms of lake effect snow today. There will still continue to be some brisk winds out of the north to northwest, and a very chilly day for this time of the year throughout the northeast and mid-Atlantic region, all as a result of this cold high pressure system now situated over the Tennessee Valley. That kind of slides to the east, and by early tonight sitting almost right on top of the mid-Atlantic region, again setting the stage for a very cold night tonight. Again, some of the suburban areas should drop well below freezing in the overnight hours, maybe as low as the low and middle 20s to the north and west of some of the big cities along the I-95 corridor region. Then that high pressure system shifts off the coast. This is the forecast map for tomorrow evening, Thursday evening, and we talk about clockwise winds around high pressure. That produces a southwesterly flow of air, and these isobars are rather tight. This will be a stiff southwesterly wind in the low levels of the atmosphere, promoting some warmer conditions, especially in the Ohio Valley on Thursday, especially in the eastern U.S. by the time we get to Friday. But while high temperatures today will struggle to reach 40 degrees, places like Philadelphia, New York City, be more likely near 50 degrees tomorrow, and then 60 degrees by the time we get to Friday afternoon, and that'll continue for Saturday and Sunday with highs near or slightly above the 60-degree mark. And we just continue to go right through the upcoming weekend and do not see any precipitation to speak of in the eastern U.S. until we get all the way to the end of the weekend as another frontal system starts to approach here, and that could throw some showers into the Mid-Atlantic region. This is the forecast map for Monday morning. That could throw some showers into the I-95 corridor region on Monday as we begin the new work week, which again will be a shortened work week because of the Thanksgiving Day holiday later next week. But a decent weekend shaping up after we get rid of this chill. Again, some areas will experience the lowest temperatures yet this season in the overnight hours, perhaps as far down as the low or middle 20s in some suburban locations by early Thursday morning. That's it for now. For PerspectiveWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.